Hare Krishna, dear devotees, thank you all so much for joining. So let's get started. Om Ajnana-timirandhasya Jnananjana-shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Śrī Caitanya-manobhishtam Sthapitam yena bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Guru Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathavitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhavitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Tira Bandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namastute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Shri Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vishvabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Haripriye Mancha Kalpatarupascha Kripa Sindhu Bhaivacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pashata Deshakarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gauri Bhakta Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Guruve Gaura Chandra Radhikaya Tadava Krishnaya Krishna Bhaktaya Bhaktaya Namo Namaha Ananda Lilamaya Vigrahaya Hema Bhadivya Chavi Sundaraya Tasmai Mahaprema Rasapradaya Chaitanya Chandraya Namo Namaste Mukam Karoti Vachal Angum Langayate Girim Yat Kripatam Ham Vande Shri Guru Dinatarinam Paramananda Madhavam Shri Krishna Chaitanya Ishwaram. My humble obeisances to each and every one of you. Vancha kalpatarubhishya Kripa sindhu vacha patintanam pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Anantakoti Vaishnava Vrinda. So Hare Krishna, dear devotees, thank you again for your very, very kind association. So we'll continue with our Caitanya-caritāmṛta, and today we will be doing session number 10. That is chapter number 10, which is entitled The Trunk, the Branches and the Sub-branches of the Chaitanya Tree. So in the previous in the previous session, we saw that how Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami, which was a very, very sweet chapter, Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami describes the transcendental tree, that is the Chaitanya tree, where Mahaprabhu himself was the gardener, he was the trunk of the tree, and he is also the data and the bhokta, the enjoyer and the distributor of the fruits of those trees. And how Mahaprabhu shows his helplessness and calls upon all his devotees, everybody, to come and help in distributing these fruits of transcendental love, these fruits of Krishna Prem to each and every one. Now, after describing that devotional tree, now in this chapter, Srila Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami will be describing the different branches and the sub-branches. Okay, so I'll share my screen. We don't have much to share this time because it's a very simple chapter. Just the names of the different associates of Mahaprabhu that is being described in this chapter. Okay. So this is Caitanya-caritāmṛta, Adi Lila, and this is chapter number 10. So again, the very first verse by Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami. Śrī Caitanya-caritāmṛta-sārārtham madhupebhyo namo namaha kathanchidāśrayat-yeshāṃ śvāpi tat-gandhabhāg bhavet. So what Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami is describing is, he's saying, Śrī Caitanya-padāṃ-bhoja, Śrī Caitanya Mahaprabhu's lotus feet. Pada ambuja, ambuja means the lotus. Pada means the feet. Madhupebhyo namo namaha. Madhupebhyo means the honey that is dripping from the lotus feet of Mahaprabhu. Pebhyo, anyone who drinks that nectar. He's saying Kadhanchit Ashray Yesham. He's saying Namo Namaha. Okay, Shri Krishna, Shri Caitanya Padam Bhoja, Namo Padam Bhoja, Madhupebhyo Namo Namaha. Those who drink this nectar that is dripping from the lotus feet of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's lotus feet, anybody who's drinking that nectar, Namo Namaha, I pay my obeisances to those devotees. Kathanchit Ashraya Yesham, and taking shelter of such devotees, he's saying, Shwapi Tat Gandha Bhag Bhavet. Even the Shwapi, Shwapi means the doggish mentality people, even they enjoy that aroma. Tat Gandha Bhag Bhavet. They also enjoy the aroma that is coming from the lotus flower of from the lotus flower that is from the lotus feet of Śrī Caitanya Mahaprabhu. Let me repeatedly offer my respectful obeisances unto the bee-like devotees who always taste the honey of the lotus feet from Śrī Caitanya Mahaprabhu. Madhupebhyo. Madhupebhyo has two meanings now. Madhupebhyo means one is who is drinking the madhu from the lotus feet of Śrī Caitanya Mahaprabhu. And Madhu also knows the meaning of bee. Bee is also known as Madhu. Right? So he's saying, I pay my obeisances to the bee-like devotees of Śrī Caitanya Mahaprabhu, who always taste the honey of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's. And if even a doggish non-devotee somehow comes and takes shelter of such devotees, Kathanchit, somehow or other, Ashraya, if somebody comes and takes shelter of such devotees, Shwapi Tat Gandha Bhag Bhavet, he also enjoys the aroma of that lotus flower. The next verse is also very beautiful. Again, he is offering his obeisances. Vande Shri Krishna Caitanya Prema-mara-taro priyan Shakha Rupam Bhaktaganan Krishna Prema Phala Pradhan. He's saying, Vande Shri Krishna Caitanya. I offer my obeisances to all the dear devotees of Śrī Caitanya Mahaprabhu, who is the eternal tree of love of Godhead. Tarho. Tarho means he is the tree. Tree of what? The eternal tree of love of Godhead. Prema-mara. I offer my respects to all the branches of the tree, Shakha, the devotees of the Lord, those Shakha, the Shakha of the tree, the branches of the tree, which are Bhaktaganan, which are the dear associates of Śrī Caitanya Mahaprabhu. And what are they doing? Krishna Prema Phala Pradhan. And they all are engaging in distributing the fruit of Krishna Prema that is there hanging on that devotional tree. So Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami is offering his obeisances to each and every one of them. Okay, so now after this, Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami, what he does is he describes he describes the tree, the Chaitanya tree. Okay, I'll share my screen again. So now he'll be describing about the different branches of the tree. So the entire chapter, it describes the different branches of that tree. Okay, the entire chapter is engaged in this. So what I have done is, instead of making my own PPT, I'll be sharing, if possible. I hope you are able to see. This is by Shri, His Grace, Gaurang Darshan Prabhu, and his Kindle, like it's Shubhodhani, Chaitanya Shubhodhani, and I'm just sharing it from there. So the very first tree that is being described by our Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami, he is describing the very first tree. Okay. And the very first branches. Somehow I'm not able to. 1 minute. Yeah. So the very first branch of the tree that Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami describes is Srivas Thakur. Okay. The two brothers, Srivas Thakur and Shri Ram Pandit, they were the one who started the two branches of that tree. And we all know that in Gaur Ganesh Tipika, Srivas Thakur is described as an incarnation of Sri Narad Muni, and his Rama Pandit, this younger brother, is said to be the incarnation of Parvat Muni. So we know that these two are Narad Muni and Parvat Muni. They are eternal friends in the spiritual world. Context also come when Narad Muni delivered Mrigari, the hunter, and when he delivered him, later they both came and met Mrigari, and this hunter, who was transformed into a sage, he came and met both Narad Muni and Parvat Muni. So these two are the transcendental friends. And in Chaitanya Lila, they came as Srivas Pandit and Sri Rama Pandit. Rama Pandit was the younger brother. So they are the first one who started these two. Srinidhi. So thus four of them, they together started all these branches. So this is the branch and the sub-branch. So the first branch is coming from Srivas Thakur's family. Also been described about Malini Devi. She was an incarnation. She was also a great devotee. She is celebrated to be the incarnation of the nurse, Ambika, who fed Lord Shri Krishna her breast milk. And Narayani Devi was the sister of Ambika. So we know who was Narayani Devi. She was the niece of Srivas Thakur. She was the mother of Shri Vrindavan Das Thakur, the author of Śrī Caitanya-caritāmṛta-sārārtham. And in Krishna Lila, she was the sister of Ambika. The Ambika, she was the nurse who fed Lord Shri Krishna with her breast milk. So together, the entire family was engaged in distributing this love of God to everybody. So the very first branch of that tree is being described as Srivas Thakur's entire family. Okay. Now the second branch is Śrī Caitanya-caritāmṛta-sārārtham, who is also known as Acharya Ratna. So it is being described that Acharya Ratna, he was Chandrasekhar-acharya, and in a drama in his house, he held a drama that is being described in Chaitanya Bhagavad in great detail. How Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he played the role of Lakshmi Devi. And Chandrasekhar-acharya was also present during the sannyas ceremony of Śrī Caitanya Mahaprabhu, which happened in Katwa. The third branch, Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami describes, is the branch of Pundrik Vidyanidhi. Pundrik Vidyanidhi, he is none other than our Vrishabhanu Maharaj. In Krishna Lila, it has been described that the father of Srimati Radharani, Vrishabhanu Maharaj, he came as Pundarik Vidyanidhi in Chaitanya Lila. And Pundarik Vidyanidhi was always regarded as the father of Śrī Caitanya Mahaprabhu. So Mahaprabhu always regarded him as the father, and he gave the title Prema Nidhi. And we know Pundarik Vidyanidhi was also the spiritual master of Gadadhar Pandit. Okay, this is all been described. And next branch, that is the fourth branch, was coming out from Gadadhar Pandit himself, who is the incarnation of Lord's pleasure potency, that is Srimati Radharani. So no one can be equal to that personality, because Gadadhar Pandit himself is the incarnation of Lord of Srimati Radharani. And then all these disciples, they have their own grand disciples, and those were the sub-branches. Okay, so everything is very difficult for Srila Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami to describe. So he's just giving the main branches that is coming out from that transcendental tree. The fifth branch is from Vakreshwar Pandit, and he was a very dear servant of Lord Śrī Caitanya Mahaprabhu. And Vakreshwar Pandit has the capacity to dance for 72 hours constantly. That was his power. And it is being described that in Chaitanya Lila means Vakreshwar Pandit is an incarnation of Aniruddha. Aniruddha, we know that they are the quadruple expansions of Lord Vishnu, like Vasudev, Sankarshan, Aniruddha, and Pradyumna. So that Aniruddha came as Shri Vakreshwar Pandit in Chaitanya Lila. And it is being described that when Vakreshwar Pandit used to dance, Mahaprabhu would personally sing. And Vakreshwar Pandit would fell at the lotus feet of Sriman Mahaprabhu and would say, "Oh Mahaprabhu, please give me 10,000 Gandharvas and let them sing and I can dance non-stop. Then I'll feel really happy." And Mahaprabhu would always say, "Oh Vakreshwar, you are the wing. You are my wing. And I wish I could have another wing like you. And then I would fly in the sky." That was the mood of Shri Vakreshwar Pandit. The sixth branch is Jagannananda Pandit. Jagannananda Pandit is Satyabhama in Krishna Lila, and he is the life and soul of the Lord. He would always saw to give somehow some comfort to Śrī Caitanya Mahaprabhu. But we know that as a sannyasi, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu did not accept the luxuries that Jagannananda Pandit offered. So there was some constant transcendental fight that was there between Jagannananda Pandit and Śrī Caitanya Mahaprabhu, because of the affection that Jagannananda Pandit carries for Śrī Mahaprabhu, because he is Satyabhama in the spiritual world. Then seventh branch comes Raghava Pandit. Raghava Pandit, we know he's the very dear devotee of Śrī Caitanya Mahaprabhu. It's the seventh branch that is coming from him. And he was regarded as Dhanishta Gopi in Krishna Lila. And this Gopi Dhanishta would always be engaged in preparing some foodstuff for Lord Shri Krishna. And Raghav Pandit had a sister named Damayanti. And she was also a dear maidservant of the Lord, and she would always collect various ingredients in which she would cook to Śrī Caitanya Mahaprabhu. And this Damayanti is Gunamala Gopi. She was a Gunamala Gopi in Krishna Lila. And whatever food that is being cooked by Damayanti, Raghav Pandit would carry it for Śrī Caitanya Mahaprabhu. And that is why it is said that those bags in which he would carry the food for Śrī Caitanya Mahaprabhu was celebrated as Raghevara Jhali, the bags of Raghav Pandit. And it has been explained that Lord Śrī Caitanya Mahaprabhu is present in all these three places. One is Srivas Angan, where Mahaprabhu would perform his nocturnal kirtan. Second is in Sachi Mata's home. In Sachi Mata, whenever she would cook, Mahaprabhu would always come and accept the remnants. And the third place is Raghevara Jhali, the bags that Raghav Pandit used to carry. Mahaprabhu would always accept. Then we have eighth branch that is coming, that is by Gangadas Pandit. Okay, so Gangadas Pandit, we know who is he. He is the master, not teacher rather, from whom Mahaprabhu learned. So he was the teacher of Srimad Mahaprabhu, Gangadas Pandit. And from him comes the eighth branch of that Chaitanya tree. The ninth branch comes from Acharya Purandara. He was also a constant associate of Mahaprabhu, and Lord always accepted him as his father. The 10th branch comes from Damodar Pandit. Damodar Pandit, we know that he was such a personality. He was so much elevated in this love for Śrī Caitanya Mahaprabhu that he would not even hesitate in even chastising Śrī Caitanya Mahaprabhu. So, and Damodar Pandit, he was formerly known as Shaibya in Vrajdham. And then in Chaitanya Lila, he was engaged in carrying out the messages from Śrī Caitanya Mahaprabhu to Sachi Mata during the Rath Yatra festival. He would carry all those messages. He was the message carrier between Sachi Mata and Lord Chaitanya, and he is Shaibya Gopi in spiritual world. 11th branch comes as Shankara Pandit, celebrated as the shoes of the Lord. He was the younger brother of Damodar Pandit. So Damodar Pandit has a younger brother, Shankara Pandit, and this is the 11th branch. And Shankar Pandit is celebrated as the shoes of the Lord. The 12th branch comes from Sadashiv Pandit. This Sadashiv Pandit, he had the good fortune of hosting Nityananda Prabhu at his home. So Nityananda Prabhu came, and when he came to Navadvip, he resided at the house of Sadashiv Pandit. He was a very pure devotee of Śrī Caitanya Mahaprabhu. The 13th branch is from Pradyumna Brahmachari. And Lord Chaitanya later changed his name as Narsimhananda Brahmachari. So this pastime also comes in Chaitanya Lila and little bit on Chaitanya Bhagavat also, where Narsimhananda Brahmachari, he was a great worshipper of Lord Narsimha, and that's why Mahaprabhu named him as Narsimhananda Brahmachari. Okay, so we'll not go in detail about all these personalities, because all these details, as you are seeing, these verses are mentioned where we can see the details. And as we will cover Caitanya-caritāmṛta, we will come across all these details. Okay. The 14th branch comes from Narayan Pandit. He was a great and a liberal devotee, and he only knew Lord Śrī Caitanya Mahaprabhu as his own shelter. Then comes Shriman Pandit. Shriman Pandit, he would carry a torch. He was a constant servitor. He would always carry a torch while Śrī Caitanya Mahaprabhu would dance. And Shriman Pandit, when Mahaprabhu dressed himself in the form of goddess Lakshmi and he performed the drama and he danced in the streets of Navadvip, at that time Shriman Pandit would always carry a torch to show the light. Then our 16th branch comes from Shuklambar Brahmachari. You know, Shuklambar Brahmachari is one of the Dvijapatnis. And Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu would beg food from him. And sometimes Mahaprabhu would snatch food from Shuklambar Brahmachari. Because Shuklambar Brahmachari used to beg food from the house of different devotees. And Mahaprabhu, jokingly or sometimes very, very serious, he would snatch food from very forcibly from Shuklambar Brahmachari and he would eat it. And he is regarded as the one of the Brahma Yajna Patnis, the Yajna Brahmana who are performing the Yajnas. One of that Brahmana's Patni is Shuklambar Brahmachari, Duja Patni. 17th branch comes from Nandanacharya. Nandanacharya, we know that how all the three Prabhus, Nityananda Prabhu, our Advaitacharya and Mahaprabhu, they used to hide in the house of Nandanacharya. So that's why he's very, very famous, Nandanacharya. Next branch comes from Mukunda Datta. Mukunda Datta was a class friend of Śrī Caitanya Mahaprabhu, and he used to sing very melodiously. And Lord Chaitanya would dance whenever Mukunda Datta will sing. So in Vraja, there are two famous singers, Madhukanta and Madhuvrata. And this Mukunda, in Chaitanya Lila, he came as Mukunda. So Madhukanta and Madhuvrata. So Madhukanta came as Mukunda and Madhuvrata came as Vasudev Datta, which is another branch. Okay. Vasudeva Datta. He came another as 19th branch, who was Madhuvrata. But thousands of mouths cannot describe his qualities. He wanted to suffer for the sins of all the people in the world so the Lord might deliver them. So that was the mood of Śrī Vasudeva Datta. Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was so pleased with the nature of Vasudeva Datta, and that he would always say that I am only Vasudeva Datta's man. My body is only meant to please Vasudeva Datta. And he is the one who can sell me anywhere to anyone. That was the mood. Vasudeva Datta was very, very dear associate of Śrī Caitanya Mahaprabhu. 20th branch came from Srila Haridas Thakur. We know that like Prahlad Maharaj, he was also regarded as the incarnation of Prahlad Maharaj, because he did not even raise an eyebrow when he was persecuted by a Muslim ruler. So in the mood of Prahlad Maharaj, Srila Haridas Thakur is being described. He is Lord Brahma. We know that he is Lord Brahma. So Advaitacharya offered him the first plate in the Shraddha ceremony. And whenever he was persecuted by the Muslims, he never even raised his eyebrow what to talk about retaliating them. And he used to chant 300,000 names of Lord Shri Krishna daily without fail. Then from Haridas Thakur only, Lord Chaitanya glorifies the devotees of Kulinagram. So he says that even a dog there is my friend. And it is so sublime that sweepers who tend hogs there chant the Mahamantra. And from the residents of Kulinagram come Satyaraj Khan, Ramananda, Yadunath, Purushottama, Shankar, Vidyananda, and Vaninath. So these are the different sub-branches that are being described. 21st main branch comes from Murari Gupta, who is Hanumanji. Hanumanji, that Murari Gupta, it's a 21st branch, and he was very humble, and he was so meek that it melted his meekness as in humbleness actually melted the heart of Śrī Caitanya Mahaprabhu. He was a very perfect ideal householder, and as a professional, he was a doctor. As a profession, he was a doctor, and he never accepted charity. He used to cure people's bodily and as well as the spiritual diseases. 22nd branch came from Shriman Sen. So he was also a very faithful servant of Śrī Caitanya Mahaprabhu. 23rd branch comes from Śrī Caitanya-caritāmṛta-sārārtham. Now, this Caitanya-caritāmṛta-sārārtham is different from Gadadhar Pandit. Gadadhar Pandit is the incarnation of Srimati Radharani. Means Srimati Radharani came as Gadadhar Pandit. But we know that our Śrī Caitanya Mahaprabhu, he is Radha Bhavdvita Sulalita. So he is carrying the emotions and the body luster of Srimati Radharani. So that duty, that luster of Srimati Radharani came as Gadadhar Das. So even the luster is personified. He is also a personality in the spiritual world. So that luster of Srimati Radharani, that Chandrakanti, that effulgence of Srimati Radharani is actually came as Gadadhar Das in Chaitanya lila. And then comes our Chandrakanti, effulgence, and Purnananda. Purnananda is also, means Gadadhar Das is the combination of the effulgence of Srimati Radharani and also the chief gopi of Sri Balaramji. Purnananda, that's the name. And because he was a chief gopi in Krishna, in Balaram, of Lord Balaram in Krishna Lila, he was very, very dear to Sri Nityananda Prabhu also. 24th branch comes from Shivanand Sen. He is also regarded as Gopi Veera and Duti combined came as Shivanand Sen. And his service was always to take devotees from Bengal to Puri every year. Every year during Chaturmas, all these devotees from Bengal would come to Śrī Caitanya Mahaprabhu to meet Śrī Caitanya Mahaprabhu in Jagannath Puri during the 4 months of Chaturmas, and especially during the Rath Yatra time. So they would stay there. And the entire family of Shivanand Saints, that is his sons and servants and family members, they are all the sub-branches. They all helped in distributing Krishna prema. So the first 2 sons of Sri Shivananda Saint, Chaitanya Das, who was Daksha, parrot, and Ramadas, who was Vichakshana. Then the 3rd son of Shivananda Saint, we know Kavi Karnapura, and who wrote this Gaur Ganesh Tipika, because of which we know that who is who in Krishna Lila and Chaitanya Lila. Then there were 2 nephews of Sri Shivananda Saint, that is Sri Vallabha Sen and Sri Kanta Sen. Then we know about Nakula Brahmachari. So all these are the sub-branches that are coming out from Shivananda Sen. 25th branch came from Govindananda. Govindananda was a Kirtaniya. He was Govinda Datta, was the principal singer in the Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's Kirtan party. So 25th branch is Govindananda and 26th branch is Govinda Datta. So these are the 2 separate branches that came from Śrī Caitanya Mahaprabhu's tree. Okay. Yes. Then comes our Vijayadas. 27th is the Vijayadas. We know about the Vijayadas that he was a great professional writer, and he would write all the manuscripts and he would present to Śrī Caitanya Mahaprabhu, and Lord gave him the name Ratna Bahu, jewel-handed. 28th branch came from Krishnadas, also known as Akinchana Krishnadas, and he was also very, very dear to Śrī Caitanya Mahaprabhu. 29th branch comes from Sridhar Polavecha. We know Sridhar Polavecha, who would sell banana leaves. And Mahaprabhu would play many jokes with him, snatching his fruits and drinking from his broken pot. This entire pastime will come in Caitanya-caritāmṛta. We can go in detail later as it comes. And in Krishna Lila, he was Kusuma Savagopa, the Sridhar Polavecha. The Pola means the banana leaf. Vecha means one who sells the banana leaves. 30th branch is Bhagavan Pandit. He was also very, very extremely dear servant of Lord Śrī Caitanya Mahaprabhu. 31 branch comes from Jagadish Pandit. As a child, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he begged prasadam from their houses during, especially on Ekadashi. Thus, he showed his causeless mercy to Jagdish Pandit and Hiranyamaya Mahasaya, who is the 32nd branch of Chaitanya tree. 33rd is coming from Purushottama and Sanjaya. They are the two students of Śrī Caitanya Mahaprabhu. They were the stalwarts in grammar, and later they became the Lord's first companion in the Sankirtan movement. 35th branch comes from Vanamali Pandit. He saw Lord Chaitanya in ecstasy of Balaram holding a club and a blow. So that is our Sanjaya. Vanamali Pandit. The 36th branch comes from Buddhimanta Khan. Buddhimanta Khan, he was always carrying out the orders of Śrī Caitanya Mahaprabhu. And we know that he was very rich. He used to reside in Navadvip. And he was the one who arranged for the marriage, actually carried out the entire expense of that marriage that happened between Śrī Caitanya Mahaprabhu and Vishnu Priya, who was the daughter of Sanatan Mishra. So Buddhimanta Khan was the one. Then comes Garuda Pandit. Garuda Pandit, he was also always engaged in chanting Krishna's holy name. And it is being described that once he was bitten by a poisonous snake, but the snake's poison could not affect him because of his strength of his chanting. That he was chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra. So even the poison of the snake could not touch him. How great devotee he was. 38th branch comes from Gopinath Simha, who is none other than Akrura. And Lord jokingly always calls him, addressed him as Akrura. 38th branch comes from Devananda Pandit. He was a professional Bhagavatam reciter. We know that once he also committed offense against Srivas Thakur, but later he got the association of Vakreshwar Pandit. He served Vakreshwar Pandit, because of which he knows the glories. He came to know the glories of Śrī Caitanya Mahaprabhu. This Devananda Pandit is Bhaguri Muni. He is the reciter in the house of Nand Maharaj. 39th branch comes from Mukunda Das, who is Narayan Das' son, and Raghunandan, who is Mukunda Das' son. Okay. They all are the residents of Sri Khand village, and they distributed these fruits and flowers of water to everybody. Narhari Sarkar is the 40th branch, who was the younger brother of Mukunda Das and was also the spiritual master of Sri Lochan Das Thakur. That is Narhari Sarkar. This Narhari Das, always, it comes in Gaura Aarti also, we sing about it. Then we have Chiranjeeva, who is known as Chandrika Gopi. 42nd branch comes from Sulochana. This is all the names that has been mentioned. Then 43rd branch comes from Sri Sanatan Goswami, the Rati Manjari or the Lavang Manjari. So these, and 44th is the Rupa Goswami, that is Rupa Manjari. 43rd and the 44th branch are the main branches. It is being described that Rupa and Sanatana, they were the principal branch. Although Anupama was also engaged, was also the third brother, and Jiva Goswami, who was the son of Anupama, he was one of the sub-branches, because it is being described that his father was also a great devotee. So Rupa Goswami and Sanatan Goswami, they were the one who expanded this Krishna prem to all, entire India, means to the western side also. And that branch is considered to be the main branch. They trained the people of Western India in bhakti and good behavior. They excavated the lost places of pilgrimage and they inaugurated deity worship in Vrindavan. That was the service given to both of them, Sanatana Goswami and Śrī Rupa Goswami, they were given these services by Śrī Caitanya Mahaprabhu. 45th branch is Anupama, who was the father of Srila Jiva Goswami, who was also a great devotee of Lord Rama. And through Anupama, Jiva Goswami, whose Vilasa Manjari was regarded as the sub-branch. Okay. Then comes the 46th branch, that is by Srila Raghunath Das Goswami, who is also known as, who is the Rasa Manjari or Rati Manjari in the spiritual world. So we know that how Sri Raghunath Das Goswami, he wants to renounce everything, and Mahaprabhu told him that no, you stay in Grahastha Ashram, and later when the time will become favorable, then you can come and meet me. So we know this Panihati festival also, Raghunath Das Goswami met Nityananda Prabhu. And later he left everything and straight away went to Jagannath Puri. And a lot of austerities he did. And Mahaprabhu was very happy seeing the austerity of Raghunath Das Goswami, though he belonged to a very wealthy class of people. And it is being described that and later this Raghunath Das Goswami was handed over to Swarup Damodar Goswami by Śrī Caitanya Mahaprabhu. Therefore, he was also regarded as Swarupera Raghura, means who is Raghunath Das Goswami, who was always under the direction of Srila Swarup Damodar Goswami. It is described that all the later pastimes of Śrī Caitanya Mahaprabhu was witnessed by these personalities because they were personally there. And Swarup Damodar Goswami would write everything in his diary, in his karcha. But he would write only in a very hinted short form. And later Raghunath Das Goswami would expand whatever, he came to know about Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's pastimes. And those were later narrated them to Rupa Goswami and Sanatana Goswami, and also our Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami, who is the author of Śrī Caitanya Mahaprabhu, heard these Anta-lila pastimes from Śrī Raghunath Das Goswami. Later he came to Vrindavan, and when Mahaprabhu left, and he wants to jump from Govardhan, but Srila Rupa Goswami and Sanatana Goswami told him that no, don't do this. You just narrate Mahaprabhu's lila. So every day he would narrate Mahaprabhu's lila. He would give up all his eating and he would only drink some buttermilk. That was his austerity. Daily he would offer 1,000 dandavats to the Lord and 100,000 holy names and offer 2,000 dandavats to the Vaishnavas. He would discuss Lord Chaitanya's character for 3 hours every day and would take 3 baths in Radhakund and would sleep less than 2 hours. Day and night he performed devotional service. As soon as I found Vaishnava residing in Vrindavan, he would embrace him and would give him all respect. That was the mood of Śrī Raghunath Das Goswami, which is the 46th branch. 47th branch comes from Gopala Bhatta Goswami, who is also known as Ananga Manjari or Guna Manjari. Very exalted branch, always discussed about prema with Rupa and Sanatana. Then our 48th branch comes from Acharya Shankararanya. He was the Vishwarup. He was the elder brother of Śrī Caitanya Mahaprabhu, whose sannyas name was Shankararanya. And from him only these sub-branches comes out. Mukunda Sanjaya, who was opened a primary school in his house and taught his son. Then we have Kanishta, Shri Rudrarama Pandit. They are all the branches, sub-branches that is coming. 49th is by Srinath Pandit. He was astounded the 3 worlds with the worship of Lord Shri Krishna. He established the Gaur Gopal and Shri Krishna Rai temple in Kanchapada. He was the disciple of Advaitacharya and a spiritual master of Kavi Karmapura. Then 50th branch is by Jagannath Acharya. who was Durvasa of the Nidhuvan, and he lived on the bank of Ganges under Lord Śrī Caitanya Mahaprabhu's order. There was one Vaidya named Krishnadas. He was the 51st branch. 52nd is Pandit Shekhar. 53rd is Kavichandra Mohana. He was Manohar Gopi. 54th is Shashtivara, a great Kirtaniya. He was Sankirtan performer. 55th is Srinath Mishra, who is Chitranga Gopi. 56th is Shubhananda Malati, and he was also a Kirtan performer at the Rath Yatra. 57th is Sri Ram. 58th is Ishan, who was the personal servant of Shachi Devi. 59th branch is by Srinidhi. 60th is by Gopikanta. And 61 is by Mishra Bhagwan. So these are all different names that is being mentioned by Shri Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami. 62nd branch is Subuddhi Mishra. He was Gunachura Gopa. He installed Gaur Nityananda deities in the village of Belagaon. 63rd branch is by Hridayananda. 64th is by Kamalanayana. 65th is by Mahesh Pandit. 66th is by Sri Kara. 67th branch is Sri Madhusudana. So purifying, calling out the names of the associates of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu itself is so purifying. 68th branch is by Purushottama. 69th branch is by Sri Galima. And 17th branch is by Jagannath Das. 71st branch is by Sri Chandrasekhar. He was also a Vaidya. 72 branch is by Dvija Haridas. Dvija Haridas had two sons who were the disciples of Sri Advaita Acharya. 73rd branch is by Ramadas. 74th is by Kavichandra. And 75th branch is by Gopal Das. So this way, this is all mentioned by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, just the names of all these different branches. Then 76th is by Bhagavat Acharya. So Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he became ecstatic hearing the explanation of Srimad Bhagavatam, and therefore he named this as Bhagavat Acharya. And later he compiled the book which was named as Krishna Prema Tarangini. 77th branch is by Thakur Sharangadas. He is Nandimukhi Gopi in Krishna Lila. He brought a dead body to life and accepted him as his disciple, and therefore he was known as Sharanga Thakur. That pastime will also come in Śrī Caitanya-caritāmṛta. 78th branch is by Jagannath Tirtha. 79th by Janakinath Brahmana. 80th by Gopal Acharya and 81th by Vaninath. He was a Brahmana. 82 by Govinda Ghosh. 83 is Madhava Ghosh. And 84th is Vasudev Ghosh, who is Gunatunga. So all these three, Kalavati, Rasollas, and Gunatunga, these three brothers expert Kirtaniyas. And Lord Chaitanya and Nityananda Prabhu would immediately dance in ecstasy to their Kirtan. So they came as Kalavati, Rasolas, and Gunatunga. They all came as Govinda Ghosh, Madhav Ghosh, and Vasudev Ghosh. And Vasudev Ghosh, we know one of the song also, Vasudev Ghosh. Jai Jai Jagannath Sachirananda, where he says that Jai Krishna, Sai Jai Gaura, Sai Krishna, Sai Jagannath. Vasudeva Ghosh bole, Pari Jodo Haath. Jai Krishna, Sai Jai Gaura, Sai Krishna, Sai Jagannath. There is no difference between Mahaprabhu and Krishna and Shri Jagannath. 85th branch comes from Ramadas Abhiram. He made a flute from a bamboo stick with 16 knots. And Ramadas Abhiram, Madhav Ghosh, and Vasudev Ghosh, they accompanied Jagannath, Nityananda Prabhu from Jagannath Puri to Bengal. Then 86th branch is by Madhav Acharya. He is Madhavi Gopi, husband of Lord Shri Chaitanya, Nityananda's daughter, Ganga Devi. Okay, he is Madhav Acharya, is the husband, or you can say the son-in-law of Lord Nityananda Prabhu, because Lord Nityananda Prabhu's daughter, Ganga Devi, her husband is Madhavacharya. Then 87th branch is Kamalakanta Vishwas, and 88th is by Shri Yadunandan. 89th and the 19th branch comes from Jagai and Madai. Jai and Vijay. These were the two brothers who were witnesses who prove that Lord Śrī Caitanya Mahaprabhu is Patita Pavan. So this way, all these different branches are being described by Śrī Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami. And then not only that, later in this chapter only, so these are the devotees in Orissa, in Bengal, that is being described. But later it has also been described about few devotees who were there in Jagannath Puri, like Paramananda Puri, Sarup Damodar, then Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, Gopinath Acharya, Pradyumna Mishra, Bhavananda Rai. Bhavananda Rai, he was regarded as Pandu Maharaj, and he has his 5 sons. And those 5 sons were Ramananda Rai, Gopinath Patnayak, Kalanidhi, Sudhanidhi, and Vaninath. So they were the 5 Pandavas who were the sons of Bhavananda Rai. They were all the devotees of Lord Śrī Caitanya Mahaprabhu in Jagannath Puri. And then we have King Prataprudra, then we have Shivananda, then we have Bhagavan Acharya, that also comes, and we have Sri Sikhi Mahaiti. So Sikhi Mahaiti, we know that how Mahaprabhu had 3.5 devotees, most confidential devotees. So one of them was Sikhi Mahaiti. He had a dream in which Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu entered the body of Lord Jagannath. So these are the few devotees that is being described who were there in Jagannath Puri. They were the devotees. And among them was also, one of them was Krishnadas, Bada Haridas, Chota Haridas. And then the sons of Advaitacharya, one of the sons, that is Achyutananda. They also have the different branches, and from them comes the sub-branches. Then there were also some devotees of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in Varanasi. So we discussed about Navadvip, the 90 branches, and then the few branches from Sri Orissa, Jagannath Puri. And then there were few branches that emerged from Varanasi. And Varanasi, we know that it was Chandrasekhar-acharya. We have Tapan Mishra, in whose house Mahaprabhu stayed for 2 months when he was in Varanasi, and he instructed Srila Sanatana Goswami. Then we have Raghunath Bhattacharya, Raghunath Bhatta Goswami, and there were many others who were also being described. So there were many branches. So in conclusion, our Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami says that see how many he listed, but still he said that I have listed only handful of Lord Śrī Caitanya Mahaprabhu's devotees, because it is very difficult to name every associate of Mahaprabhu. But he said that I have just named few of them. And from all these different branches, thousands and thousands of disciples they came, which also became as the sub-branches of these main branches. And thus, through these branches and through the help of these sub-branches, the entire world was inundated with the fruits and flowers of Krishna prema. And Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami says, I wish I have thousands of mouths where I can describe these unlimited glories, but it's so impossible that even Lord Anantashesh cannot describe, so who am I? So this way, he felt so incompetent that I cannot describe the glories of Śrī Caitanya Mahaprabhu and his associates, because his associates are innumerable. We cannot name them. And finally, after offering obeisances and naming all these devotees that we have already shared, our Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami ends the chapter 10 by saying, Śrī Caitanya-caritāmṛta Padejara-as Caitanya-caritāmṛta Kahe Krishnadas. Praying at the lotus feet of Śrī Rupa and Śrī Raghunath, always desiring their mercy, I, Krishnadas, narrate Śrī Caitanya-caritāmṛta, following in their footsteps. So this was the entire end chapter, chapter 10, which had only the names of the associates of Srimad Mahaprabhu. But calling out the names and studying about them and calling, of course, their names itself is very, very purifying, because they were the very dear associates of Srimad Mahaprabhu. And don't worry, even Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami has just listed the names. So we are just following the same pattern. And all the associates, their dealings with Śrī Caitanya Mahaprabhu will be described in detail in the later chapters. And we'll follow the same route. We'll follow our Srila Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami. As he would be explaining all these different associates, we'll also come to know in detail about all of them. Okay, so this was a very simple chapter, but yes, the important chapter, because the names of Mahaprabhu's associates are mentioned. So we will stop here. Thank you so much for your association. Yes, Sunil Prabhu, you have something to say?
Hare Krishna, Mataji. Thank you so much, Mataji, for so beautifully clear. Mataji, I was thinking, in the end, in 12th chapter, he gives the Falashruti. In that Falashruti, why he doesn't include this chapter, Mataji? Because I remember this chapter only few names, devotees.
What do you want? Falashruti, who describes?
Like in Falashruti, it says that just by remembering the names of Nityananda, Advaita and Gadadhar branch, one will get attains freedom from entanglement of material existence and all this. But this chapter name is not included. I was thinking why.
Yeah, because right now he has described only the branches of Śrī Caitanya Mahaprabhu. In the 11th chapter, he'll be describing the branches that came out from Nityananda Prabhu. And then in the 12th from Advaita Acharya. So right now he has just told about the branches of Śrī Caitanya Mahaprabhu's tree. And later from Nityananda Prabhu, the main branch also, because remember in the previous chapter we discussed that Mahaprabhu is the trunk and the two main coming from Advaita Acharya and Nityananda Prabhu. So he still has to tell, Srila Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami will still tell the associates of Nityananda Prabhu and Advaita Acharya. So right now he has just described the branches that are coming out from Mahaprabhu's tree. But the two main branches are still left. So after that, the Falashruti will be described.
Okay,
Yes,
so means these two branches are more powerful than this branch. Okay,
so
thank you so
so
much,
many
Mataji.
associates we still have to go through, and then will come our childhood pastimes of Srimad Mahaprabhu.
Thank you so much, Mataji. And just last question. In the Shankar Pandit, it's mentioned he's the shoes of Mahaprabhu. I heard he's a
The
thing
shoes,
of...
yes.
Yeah, in what sense the shoes?
Means the slippers, the sandals, the padukas of Srimad Mahaprabhu. Of course, in the spiritual world, everything is a personality. Ornaments are the personality, clothes are the personality, shoes are the personality. So Mahaprabhu's personality came as Shankar. Okay.
Yes, thank you so much, Mataji. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Sunil Prabhu. I think so you are studying it with full dedication. Great. Okay, dear devotees, thank you so much for your association. We'll stop here. Vanchakalpatarubhascha kripasindhubhaiva cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha.
Hare Krishna.
Vaishnavrinda ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki
Ki
jai.
jai.
Shri Krishna.
Thank you very much.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Mataji. Hare